2063, mandatory death penalty. Because of the backlash from the American public over felonies committed by illegal aliens, the American people demanded that the newly elected president take immediate and severe measures. The Justice Department said about 98.3%, or 50,101, of the illegal immigrants behind bars were still waiting for adjudication, while 5,000, or roughly 10%, have been granted relief because they risk persecution or serious harm if they are deported. That means the liberal Democratic president, before the current administration, would release them illegally, so that they were free to continue committing even more crimes against innocent American citizens. Illegal aliens who commit additional crimes in the United States are a threat to public safety and a burden on our criminal justice system, the Attorney General said in a public statement. Dreamers are my nightmare. We cannot afford to clothe and house illegal aliens for the rest of their lives for simply killing innocent American citizens. Incarceration is not a punishment for criminals. Compare this to our vets dying in the street homeless and routinely denied the medical attention they deserve from the government because it is being used to house illegal immigrants instead. The reason we can never fix the illegal immigration problem is that there is no cooperation between federal, state, and local governments. And there never will be, the president said. But I will fix that using my executive order and bypassing Congress completely. The acting president classified, signed Executive Order 9999, which allows the immediate termination of all illegal aliens incarcerated for felonies through lethal injections, on the condition that their country of origin denies them deportation. MS-13 is a gang from El Salvador that loves to cut the heads off their victims. Prison is not a punishment. It is a finishing school for criminals. In the black community, hip-hop, black music, or gangster rap cannot be considered a legitimate rapper unless you have been to prison first. Prison is simply a vehicle for selling more music. There will never be any rehabilitation, and the taxpayers of the United States cannot afford to feed, clothe, and house these illegal immigrants, who are all criminals in their own country as well, for the rest of their lives. The only punishment is death, and death penalty must be carried out immediately right after the sentencing. What good does it do to have the death penalty when that person is on death row, waiting to die for 30 years? That's a joke. Regarding appeals, how often does a person have to be found guilty of the same crime before the execution is carried out? For example, suppose felons from Mexico are denied deportation into their own country. That is, Mexico routinely refuses to accept its citizens. Then that felon is terminated within 24 hours after deportation rejection. Unlike American citizens, illegal aliens here are breaking the law by definition and have no rights. This termination movement gained momentum after the drunk driving laws changed. Any minor caught drinking and driving without a license was never allowed to obtain a license after that legally. A driver's license is not a constitutional amendment but a state privilege, and the lifetime bans for that person breaking the law for driving without a license while drunk would be nationwide, so they could not obtain a license in any state. Then this expanded to include drunk drivers with multiple offenses. After the offender was caught 3 times, their license was revoked, and they could never legally obtain another one. Then the number of offenses was limited from 3 to 1, and if you were ever caught drunk driving on a first offense, you permanently lost your license or were never allowed to obtain one. Past presidents and of Mexico, who do nothing to help his citizens, will no longer be tolerated by the United States. He wants the United States to take care of his people. I don't know of any other leader in the world that would do that. He is an embarrassment to all Mexicans everywhere. The Mexicans are a proud people, poor but proud, and he tells the illegal immigrants from his country how not get caught by immigration in the United States. That's not a leader, that's not even a man. He's a child, and should be embarrassed to be seen in public. The same principle then applied to illegal aliens. No constitutional amendment guarantees any foreigner citizenship within the United States. No one is allowed citizenship just because they apply. We are a nation of immigrants, invaders. The American Indians never wanted us here and still don't. But we slaughtered them with the rifle, superior technology, stole their land, and now we're trying to prevent the illegal immigrants from South America from doing the same thing to us. U.S. citizenship is not a constitutional right for foreigners. If anyone is caught as an illegal immigrant, no matter what country they originate from, they can never get citizenship in the U.S. after that. After all, the sanctuary cities were unfunded, and those states went bankrupt. Sympathy for the illegal criminals soured when their crime spree spread from the cities into the suburbs, where it affected the liberal Democrats themselves. When the liberal elites were attacked by the illegal immigrant criminals and had to live with the problem they created, they immediately blamed the independent conservative incumbent, who signed Executive Order 9999 into law. Our piece of shit, sellout and unlawful president committed treason by winning a rigged election. What's the penalty for treason?